It seems like it's been 40 weeks since you got 40 winks. Your back pain? Unbearable. Tossing, turning, trying to find that pain-free position. And that's the moment you realize you can't spend another waking moment putting off treatment.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for spine care, with a ton of surgical and non-surgical treatments for back pain. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 626, Shay's Weight Loss Journey, weekly updates.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine, and Shay is back. What's up?
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm all right. I feel like I was just having a discussion yesterday about the seasonal affective disorder. Just because at least here in Cincinnati, the past couple of days, it's been like rain/snow/ice/ lots of gray. And somebody in Pilates yesterday at Pilates was saying that they know somebody or a couple people that have, it's called like a SAD light, a seasonal affective disorder
I have
light.
one of those.
Do you? Does it work? Do you? How does that work?
I don't ever use it.
Oh, you're like, I don't want to feel happy. Screw this.
No, I know. I'm like, I like to feel depressed. Yeah, I have one, but I don't ever actually use it.
How come? You just forget about it?
Yeah, I don't make it a priority.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess if I sat it next to my couch, it's kind of like you have to like sit right next to it, and then like you can't do it too late in the day or else it messes up your melatonin.
Huh.
So yeah, but
Interesting.
I've heard that they work though. That's why I have one.
You just have to commit to it to get the results, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Like anything else.
Right.
How much did it cost? Do you remember?
I don't know. My mom got it for me.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that sounds interesting. I mean, this has nothing to do with the seasonal affective disorder, but I mean, I won't ever be able to afford one. And I know there's like different kind of like knockoff versions or cheaper versions, but I would like love to have like a sauna.
Oh yeah.
It just seems like I lived in an apartment building that had a sauna in it before. And it's like, when you get there and you just sweat and you get out of there, you just feel like, oh my God, I feel so good.
I've actually never been in a sauna.
Oh, they're awesome. In steam rooms too. And so there's a steam room and a sauna at my Y, but it's closed because of COVID. So I'm paying for a Y membership, but I never went in there anyway because I get so freaked out about other people being there. Like I just need to be alone. That's just how I am with any situation really. But the one I had in my apartment building, that's when I lived in Denver. Nobody used it. So my friend came over all the time and we would just go like lay around in there and it was freaking awesome. And then I did this thing for a radio station once where I worked with this spa for a few months, and they had a thing where they had a steam room and a sauna, which I used the sauna, but I'd get in the steam room and get super hot. And then they had like a cold plunge. It was like stairs that went into the ground that was like filled with like ice cold water. And so you would do the steam room and then you would go into the cold water, or you could do, vice versa or whatever. And that was a thing too, that was like, just like makes you feel alive. Like this one, you see people like jump into like ice water lakes or whatever, and then get into a hot tub.
Oh my gosh.
It just makes you feel freaking awesome. Or be in the hot tub and then get into the ice water.
Yeah.
I don't know. I dig that
That's crazy.
Stuff. I love it. It's worth trying. It's painful. I mean, when you especially get into the ice water, it's like, but you feel awesome. Or just
like, does it feel awesome?
Well, try it like if you tried turning your shower to cold, like before you get out, like make it really cold and kind of force yourself to stand in it.
It's supposed to be good for your body, but yeah, I did when I had purple hair for a hot minute and I had to get in cold water for that.
Oh, see, when you made my hair pink, I just did what I always did.
Oh, you're like, I'm doing what I want.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to wash my hair in cold water. I don't know. Like I'm cool with the ending the shower with like a blast of cold water, but I don't want to just do the whole shower in cold water.
Yeah, it's not as nice. Well, I would like wash my body and stuff with hot water, but when I would go to like rinse my hair, it would be cold, and it was awful.
Yeah. I just saw a TikTok yesterday that's like, yeah, if somebody colors their hair other than like for an event, that means they're crazy. And I'm like, what? Like, so many people color their hair in different colors. I'm like, I don't think that makes you crazy. It just makes you like,
so weird.
This is fun. Let's try this. And if I like it, then I like it.
Were they saying that just about like the fashion colors, like the purples and pinks?
Yeah. Not like blonde or brunette or anything like that. Yeah. If you're doing kind of a wild, fun color and you do it for like longer than like a 4-day span, then you're bat crackers.
Jeez.
But it was also just a TikTok too. It wasn't like some doctor.
That is funny. I'm like, I have clients that always have crazy colored hair.
Yeah, I just think it's fun. It's just whatever.
I mean, they might be a little batshit, but
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, my hair was pink for like a month, and I'm not going to say I'm not crazy.
Right. I think then you're just willing to let your crazy like come out. Like you're not ashamed of it.
Oh, yeah, man. Like I let my crazy flag fly.
Your freak flag?
Freak, yeah.
Oh my freak, yeah. Oh my God. Oh.
So how has the past week been as far as, diet and exercise and all that fun stuff?
It's been pretty good. I wish it wasn't quite so cold so I could walk more, but it is winter. Yeah, but other than that, I felt like I didn't really have anything that took me like off the rails this week. So
that's good.
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't get to see you at Chilati's. We had like conflicting schedules. But I was just telling you before we started recording, the class I took Saturday, I'm like, ooh, dang, like it hurt to laugh on Sunday.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh man, I haven't been this sore in a long time, which I was telling Shelly because I was there yesterday. And I'm like, dang, that was brutal. But like in a good way where I'm like, man, I'm going to have abs of steel. I'm going to be able to, so I was joking, like somebody's going to punch me in the stomach, is going to break their fingers.
Yes. Heck yes. It feels so good though when your abs are sore. You're like, I feel like I was successful.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing too of like, going into the fitness culture, I guess, or just kind of the mindset we all get into of if I'm not sore, then it didn't count. Like it wasn't a hard workout if I'm sore, which is not true. But at the same time, when I like the feeling of like the soreness, not crippling soreness of like, oh, I know I'm working something new and different. So that means I'm mixing it up and I'm not in my same rut. So that makes me feel good in that way. But I try not to get, because I've been there before, just because I know better now of like, oh, if I'm not sore from a workout, then it was ineffective, because that was the goal all the time, is like sweat through my shirt and be sore. And that doesn't equal good all the time. But it's hard to get out of that mindset, especially when there's so many places that are just like come in boot camp, sort of like come in and crush. And if you're not crushing it this hard, then, you might as well not work out at all.
Yeah. I try to just be proud of myself for moving my body, because I definitely was not doing a lot of that before.
Yeah. Do you notice a difference in your body at all from doing Pilates?
I feel like in some ways I've like feel a little bit more aware of my body, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then I do feel a little bit stronger, like at the gym when I'm doing stuff with Josh. But like I notice like my abs have never been sore the way that they are from Pilates. And definitely like my inner thighs are sore all the time from Pilates. And I had never experienced that before.
Yeah. Working all those different muscles, man.
I know, man. I was like, oof, I'm going to be able to break a watermelon with my inner thighs.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. Shoot.
Make
crazy.
Go viral on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I know.
Well, I just like, even because I've been doing this reverse diet for the past almost 3 months now, which I'm using my friend Sarah as my health coach, because I can't do on myself by my own, of like get my calories up slowly without gaining weight until you get to the point where I know where like my true maintenance is. And so like I haven't felt like any leaner or anything like that. But I also know the process. So I'm trying to throw that out of my head that has to be the goal. even though I can see changes in my body. So I think with the doing that and consistently doing Pilates, I've been doing more stuff at the gym because being in physical therapy and that being successful, doing physical therapy exercises. Like this past week, I'm like, this is the first time I'm like, I actually feel leaner. Like it doesn't, I don't necessarily, for me right now, the goal isn't like look skinnier, like I need to be skinnier. I just want to feel comfortable or just feel like stronger, leaner sort of thing. And like this past week, even though my body stats had not changed, my weight stayed almost exactly the same and my measurements are almost exactly the same. I just feel different. Does that make sense? It's weird how that works, right?
Yeah, I experience that a lot. Like when I limit sugar, like it's like my whole body feels a little less, it's almost like swollen or like, I don't know. It's like my whole body just feels a little bit lighter. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just like the less bloat you notice when like foods make your body hold on to stuff.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, I just like this feeling. And then I fall into old mindset too of I get scared that it's going to go away. Like, oh, I don't want to feel fat again. I'm like, oh my God, it's just so much of like me right now. My process is catching myself with all of these old patterns and thoughts that I have towards stuff because I know so much better, especially now over the past year of getting all these certifications and totally changing, you know, my knowledge base and my job, that I'm like, I can see some of the things I say to myself and I'm like, that's not healthy. Like that's incorrect. And trying to unteach that from yourself is so freaking hard.
It is.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm much more aware of the stuff that I say to myself, but it's like, then when you're aware, you have to actually try and change that thought pattern. And it's like this, like some days I can do really well. And then other days I just am so used to just letting myself think negative things and not stopping it. So it's just a hard routine to like try and change your thoughts rather than just being like, oh, I'm a piece of crap.
Yeah. That's where, you know, especially with like exercise right now, I went so hard for a long time of just going to the gym 6 or 7 days a week and sometimes doing 2-a-days and going to the gym and then going for a long walk it was just a lot. And then once I started having back problems at the beginning of last year, January in 2020, it had completely shut me down and I couldn't do anything. So from going to that to zero. And so now I'm like, okay, this is a time I really have to rewire my thinking for balance of like that much is hurtful and doing nothing is also hurtful. So that's where I even just like last week, I caught myself of like, I didn't do anything today. Like better get on my spin bike, you know, or just like whatever of just like, I have to throw something at it of like, no, it's okay if you have a day that, you know, just generally moving around is just fine. And like, you know, not just holding up on the couch all day, which is fine too. If you do that every once in a while of like telling myself, like, you're not a piece of crap if you don't exercise this one day. Geez, just like the same thing of like, I'm not going to lose everything. Everything's going to be okay if I eat like crap this one day. It's crazy how we so much get into that all or nothing mindset and how hard it is after you've lived in that for so long to retrain yourself to think of balance, which is why I think it's so helpful when you have like somebody you can talk to or a coach or somebody to be like, walk me through this, because if you leave me to myself, I'm going to fall right back into all my old patterns, whether that's eating horribly or it's over, you know, eating to this perfection, low calorie sort of mindset. Like it's, I don't know. That's at least where I'm at. And I'm sure like where you are too, like being where you want to be in maintenance right now. It's that being torn between those two worlds.
Right. No, it is confusing because in my head, it's always like, and I know that I do still have more weight to lose. So it's like a mind game of whether or not like I'm like, sometimes I'm like, wow, you're lazy or wow, you're failing because I'm just staying where I'm at. And that's not true, but that's immediately where my head goes. Yeah, it's hard to like I work on that in therapy all the time. Like I have to have positive affirmations that I do all the time. And even the past like 2 weeks, I've been trying to find just one good thing in every day, which is, it's crazy to me how much that has changed my mindset. You wouldn't think, like, you don't even realize how much like negativity you look at, especially right now in the world. So just finding like one positive thing in every day has just altered my mindset so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like some days some days it's kind of hard. I'm like, I can't find anything good today, but there's always something. And I don't know, I think it is so much like in our head, and so we have to make decisions to like, I'm gonna use positive affirmations instead of tearing myself down, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah, a thing that I've been kind of the opposite end of that, something that I've been working on lately too, is like if I go into like a dark mood or I'm in a bad place, where I'll be like, then really lean into it. Like,
right.
just go ahead and fully immerse yourself in it instead of spending the whole day trying to fight it. Of like, why aren't I being cheerful? Like, let me pour some caffeine on it. Like, why can't I get in a better mood? And like, that's my go-to all the time, is like beat myself out of this mood. So now I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Let me just live in it. Let me just fully feel how awful it is. And every time I've done that, I mean, it sucks, but I always wake up the next day and I'm like, I feel so much freaking better.
Yeah. No, I've actually been talking about that with my therapist too, because I feel like most of the time I'm like trying to avoid every uncomfortable emotion. So I don't even always recognize what I'm feeling. I just know I feel uncomfortable. So it's like, you know, if I have a moment where I'm feeling like anxious, like take a couple minutes and breathe and really figure out where that anxiety is coming from instead of just trying not to feel it. So I just have not until recently realized how much, like, even though I'm not using food quite as much to numb out, it still is something I try and do. I'm like, oh, these are uncomfortable feelings, let's avoid them, when it's like, it kind of passes if you feel it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I do too. Like, again, doing a better job without the food and without exercise, since I got shut down from that last year, which I think all plays a role into struggling with depression for me. Of, you took away in workaholic sort of stuff of like all these things are avoidance, where I catch myself now. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go on an endless scroll on TikTok for a half hour. And I'm like, no, that's not going to solve anything either. Put the phone down. And I just feel it, just like sit with it and deal with it, because it'll make it go away faster. But it's so easy just to find distractions so you don't feel it with anything. I mean, especially with screen times and stuff like that, of like, I'm just going to watch this show, or I'm going to, you know, go listen to this podcast or whatever it is, to just like to avoid things rather than find the like actual enjoyment in them. And catching yourself in that and working on it just blows. It's just such not, I mean, it's totally worth it, but it's like just not a fun process, where I'm like, oh man, that's where I feel like sometimes too, like especially lately, I'm like, you know what? I've spent so much time in the past year just working on myself, especially since I started therapy last year, of really trying to right some wrongs and change some behaviors and all this stuff, where I'm like, man, I'm kind of sick of personal growth for a second. It sounds awesome just to go out and have fun and do something stupid, which it feels like, you know, COVID is kind of taken away, of like, where, you know, I love traveling, and this is the first time in a long time I haven't traveled anywhere. And that makes me like I just want to go hang on a beach somewhere, or hike a mountain, or do something, or just like freaking go bowling or whatever, of like, just to have like that, you know, just have more fun and play, which I know Brene Brown speaks to that a lot too, of just having play in your life. And I think that's one of the things that COVID is just made, we're all so messed up from so many things, but part of it is just kind of took away our ability to play. Like, let's all get together and, you know, go to Kings Island, or let's go to a concert, or let's have a big party or whatever it is. And so it's like, when you're constantly just focused on the negatives or fixing the wrong stuff, it's like, God, I just want to have some fun for a minute.
I know. Yeah. I was literally fantasizing yesterday about when a couple Thanksgivings ago we went to Florida, and I like rented a bike for the day, and I just like rode my bike around and got a little bit drunk, and I was like, that was such a good day. And I was like, I just want to go to Florida and rent a bike. And I can't. I'm like, I can't do that crap right now. So
yeah, I mean, well, technically you can.
True. But yeah, I'm like, and I'm not even a big travel person. I'm like I'm a homebody. Like I get a lot of anxiety about traveling, but I was like, it's bad when even I am thinking about traveling.
Yeah. Well, the things that like the way I like to travel is kind of more solitary stuff. I like just hiking by myself. I like solo trips. I like traveling by myself. I'm happy to obviously travel with Mike or anybody else, but like I just kind of like want to just hang on the beach by myself. But in order to get there, then it's like airports and all this other stuff and some other things that because even though I haven't really heard that like airports are hot zones or anything, but even then, like some of my favorite things are just trying new coffee shops and sitting in the coffee shop or going to restaurants. That's like part of why I love traveling is trying these new places. And that is like, even though, again, you can technically go there, like if I went to San Diego or something, I've never been to Southern California, I can't just go hang in a coffee shop. I can't just go into a new restaurant. I don't even think they have indoor dining right now in California. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, well, why would I take this risk when I can technically go fly there to get there and do some of the solo stuff? I can just hang on the beach by myself. But then all the other parts that are worth traveling, like it's not fun. You know what I mean? To like, I'm going to do takeout from a restaurant in this new city. So that's where especially because I was supposed to go to Moab April last year and that got canceled. So Delta is like, yo, you're not getting that money back. Oh. So Delta has $500 of my money tied up in them. And I don't know how long they're going to let me sit on that credit where I'm like, I don't want to lose it. I want to travel somewhere, but I don't want to just travel somewhere to eat up a $500 flight to have like it suck when I get there.
Right. Yeah. Like if I'm going to travel, I like and spend money, I want it to actually be like I can experience the things that I normally would.
Yeah. And then I would hate it if I got there or I got somebody sick or
I know.
What if I got sick while I was there and then I had to fly back and I couldn't? I'm like, oh my God. It's just like, again, like it's not just let's hop on a plane and go to Vegas.
I know. Cause it's like, it's not just you're putting at risk, but like I have like at least 30 clients a week. And I'm like, everything that I expose myself to, I'm basically exposing them to.
Yeah.
So it just feels like I owe it to other people to be careful too.
Yeah, totally. And then I feel, I was just talking to Mike about this weekend. I'm like, first off, this is kind of depressing to me, but I'm like, I turn 40 next year. And I'm like, God, how am I 40? I don't feel 40. Not that 40's that old, but I'm like, I'm still like 22, aren't I? And so, but I'm like, dude, I hope this stuff is fixed by August 2022 because I don't want to go travel somewhere. I want to do something wild for my 40th birthday. And I'm like, I'm going to be bummed out if it's the same. I mean, obviously for multiple reasons, not just for my selfish birthday plans, but it's like, man, okay, we got a year and a half here. Come on, vaccine.
Pull it together, America.
Yeah. I'm like, man, I hope we can party for my birthday next year.
I know. My dad turned 60 this year. And I love birthdays, man. I was like, we got to plan some crazy 60th birthday shit. And I'm like, I don't really know what September of this year is going to look like.
That's true. Yeah.
I know.
I mean, you could have your socially distanced party. I mean, what would you do with your dad if COVID wasn't a thing? Like, what kind of birthday party would you throw for him?
Well, he loves we did last year the Cincy Brew Bus, which technically you can still do right now.
Is that the pedal wagon thing?
No, it's an actual like little bus that takes you to all of these breweries.
Oh, okay.
And I only remember where we were, the first brewery that we went to on this bus. But yeah, that's really cool. And then I have a secret plan for him, which I cannot say on this podcast. I don't know if he listens. He probably doesn't, but yeah, I don't know. I figured that probably me and all my sisters would do something with him for his 60th, but we'll see. I freaking love birthdays. So
Yeah, I just like, yeah, I like having those milestones. Like when Mike turned 40, we had a bunch of his friends fly in from over like around the country and stuff and hang out. And then for my 30th birthday, he took me on a hot air balloon ride above Boulder in Colorado. Like we watched the sunrise over, the sunrise and Rocky Mountains on the hot air balloon. Like that was super cool. And at the time then too, at my 30th birthday, I was already down because that was the year I started losing weight. So I was already down 30 or 40 pounds, something like that by that birthday. But the rest of that day, I'm like, we are going to go to this place that specializes in fried chicken and biscuits because that's what's happening.
That's awesome.
On my birthday. And it was freaking amazing. I love biscuits so much. Biscuits and butter, put them in my face all day long.
Yes.
And there's that biscuit restaurant here in OTR, and I have not been there yet.
There's some stuff in Cincinnati. I'm like, if I don't try it, I don't know what I'm missing.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, there's like in Clifton too, there's like a sushi burrito place, and I'm like, I kind of want to eat a sushi burrito. I kind of want to eat everything though. I like trying stuff I've never tried before. I'm food adventurous. I
want to eat everything.
Well, yeah, I'm like, if there's like something on the menu where I'm like, that's freaky deaky, I'm like, I gotta get it. Like I gotta know what it tastes like. I've eaten a lot of weird foods, so
not like that.
I don't know. It's just fun to know. Like even I was with Josh. He went with me. We recorded a podcast at Miami University in Oxford right before COVID hit last year. And we went to some Mexican restaurant afterwards, and they're just kind of I forgot what it was called. It was like, oh, get the sombrero taco, and I'm like, what is a sombrero taco? They made it sound like it was gonna like be a big like sombrero with like all the stuff in it, like a chip sombrero, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to have this. He's like, really? You're gonna order that? I'm like, I need to see what it looks like. I have to experience this. And instead, it was like the biggest massive taco I've ever seen in my life. It was insane. It was not what I was expecting, but I still wasn't mad. So I'm like, I never know what my next favorite thing is. I'm like, I got to try it to see if like maybe this is it. I don't know. That's just how I am with food though. Like I'll try anything once.
I was hoping maybe you got to wear the sombrero while you ate the taco. Because that's the kind of shit I would love.
Yeah. No, not at this place. I would totally do that though. Like, and when we went to Iceland a couple years ago, they got all sorts of freaky stuff on the menu there. One thing I did not try though is horse. So like, horse is on the menu, but I did eat shark. That was really gross. It tastes like eating a litter box.
No, no. Why do you know what eating a litter box tastes like?
I mean, you can get the vibe when you're cleaning the litter box. You get a vibe of what it would taste like ammonia.
Maybe you're getting too close.
I got 3 cats.
You like down on your hands and knees in the litter box?
There's just a lot of litter box action. There's a lot of peeing and pooping going on over here. I keep my animals well fed and hydrated.
I do too, and I'm not tasting the litter box. Okay. I grew up with cats, and I don't know what a litter box tastes like.
Well, I don't know what it tastes. I would just assume I would know what it tastes like.
Okay. It's like when you eat something and it tastes like a ladybug.
What?
Have you ever?
Okay, I kind of know what you're talking. Like if you like eat an apple and it kind of tastes like there was a worm in there or something.
Yeah, there's like a weird it's like in my mind I know what a ladybug tastes like.
Yeah. No, I get that. Because they have that like smell to them. Like those little beetles have that stank where you're like, you can be like, yeah, I get it. See?
And I know everyone's accidentally tasted their earwax. That shit's nasty.
Do you know what? This is, I mean, I don't even care if this is disgusting. Marty, rest in peace, my old cat. Like, she loved eating my earwax. I would like feed her my earwax.
Okay, that's fine though, because I used to feed when I was younger. I would feed, and I promise this wasn't like last year. I would feed my dog my boogers. He was like, and I know he loved it because it was salty.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're like dogs will eat poop. So
yeah, dude, he was like, give me those boogers.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't have a dog growing up. I never had a dog.
I would like share like popsicles or like suckers, I would like lick it and then let the dog lick it, and then I'd lick it and let the dog lick it. Like,
See, you're just building that immunity up.
That's right. And homegirl still got COVID. What? I thought Bert was immune.
Yeah, right. But come on. I was sharing dog spit. How did I get this?
Jeez. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, even the things too. Again, and just part of my, I know I'm not alone here. And if you're listening to this, I know I'm not alone. Of like, especially like digging stuff out of the trash to eat. Like, I'm not going to eat this. I've had enough of this. Stop being this person and binging. Throw it in the trash. And then you're like, nah, that's coming back out.
I know. That's why I have to either like run stuff underwater or like put something like soap on it. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but I'm like, just putting it in the trash can is not enough.
I know. And I've had to do that before. And then I have very big hangups against food waste. That's just how I grew up, of like, you don't throw food away. I mean, it was like Clean Plate Club. And I know, I think I've told you, I don't know if I said on this podcast or not. I mean, at my grandma's house, if we didn't clean our plate, we got paddled. So it was like, well, you can't get any ice cream if you don't clean your plate. And I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm not hungry. I don't want ice cream. And then you get paddled and you still got to eat the ice cream anyway. It was always butter pecan, which I can't eat anymore. But it was like, yeah, you eat all of your food. You don't throw food away. And so now when I do that, it's like this internal war, which I haven't been in a place of like digging food out of the trash in a while. So again, it's been years of work, but it's like, then I'm torn to be like, oh my God, you're throwing food away. And then if you put like soap or something on it, of like, oh, now you're just ruining food and you're wasting it. And it's just like, then I feel like horrible for that. But then if I ate it all so there wouldn't be any food left, then I would feel horrible about that. I'm like, oh my God, it's just no win if you just feel like your heart's being clawed apart no matter what you do.
Yeah, I have no problem wasting food. That is not a problem for me.
Yeah, I do. I still get hung up. I try to, when I do my meal prep every Sunday, I've eyeballed it so many times that I'm really pretty good about making it exactly the measurements. And I try to be short versus over, because I'm like, well, I can just go buy some more this week and make it. But yeah, when I'm over, and I know, especially when I'm being really strict like I am now, very specific to calories and macros, I'm like, this doesn't fit into what I'm doing right now, but I don't want to throw this away. So then I'll just go guilt trip Mike and be like, can you please eat this chicken? Like, I will make it a different way from you if you want me to like cook it. Like, do you want me to make this so you'll eat it? And he usually doesn't want to eat it. And sometimes he'll take one for the team and eat it for me, because I can't handle it throwing away. And he's really bad at food waste too. Like, and I don't understand like the whole thing of like, I'm going to make a pot of macaroni and cheese and I can't eat it all. I'm like, yo, that's all gotta go. That's what? How do you stop? How do you
I'm so confused by that.
Yeah, he does it all the time. But then he'll, instead of putting it like in Tupperware and putting it in the fridge to eat it later because he hates leftovers, that he'll just like let it sit in the pot overnight. And then I'll get up in the morning and I'll be like, oh, okay, so now we wasted all this food and now I got to clean it up. So I'm like, I just hate that he'll have the intentions of putting something in the fridge since we eat completely separately. And so like, it's kind of, you're on your own there, buddy, with whatever he's making. And then, yeah, when he leaves it out, I'm like, okay, so now it's just got to be thrown away. And to me, like, it still bothers me, but I'm like, well, I didn't spend quote unquote my money on it. I have to like justify it to myself because I don't know. It's just so deeply ingrained in me. I hate it. I just can't. And that's where like when I worked at like Starbucks for 3 days, seeing like the food waste there, and it was inside of a Target, to see like how much food they throw away. That is perfectly fine. And with Starbucks, like all of the cake pops and all that stuff at night, you had to just throw in the trash, and nobody was allowed to, like, why can't we let people take it home? Or even just like the leftover iced coffee or cold brew or the iced tea, like you had to dump it. You weren't even allowed to drink it because it's considered stealing. And I'm like, man, we're broke as a joke working here at freaking Starbucks in Target, and that like you can't even let us have an iced tea. Like, why, like, are you serious? Like, are there so many people that like could use this food and instead we're just going to throw it away? Oh God, I hate that. I can't handle it.
I worked at a Target, Starbucks, and I don't remember throwing food away, but I've sipped on iced coffee all day. I was like, fire me if you want. I knew they weren't watching me on the cameras and I was by myself. So I was hyped all the time, like shaking, freaking. It was crazy. I had the most energy ever.
How long did you work there for?
Just a couple months. So, and then I worked there part of the time I was in hair school and they wouldn't cut my hours back. And I was like not doing well mentally because I was working too much and going to school. And they were like, oh, we hired you to work full time. And I was like, okay, bye. See ya.
I told you my Starbucks story, didn't I? When I worked there?
Probably, but I don't remember.
I am sure I've had to share this on the podcast. If not, I'll do it again. Because I'm like, ooh, I love coffee. It'd be so fun to learn how to do coffee or whatever. So it was like day one within a couple hours. Again, this was Target in Denver. So it was like the third biggest or busiest Target in the country at the time. And it was the only store that sold alcohol because Colorado has whacked alcohol laws. And so anyway, so chick pulls it. I'm like, they had me on register because I didn't know how to make coffee. And I ordered her drink. And then she came back up and she's like, excuse me. She's like, I did not ask for non-fat milk. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm brand new. Like, that is totally my fault. We'll fix it. We'll get you another one. She's like, no, I'm fat. I get it. You're saying I'm fat. I get it. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm new. I screwed up. That's my fault. I'll get you. No, it's fat. I'm fine. Everybody, it's okay. I'm fat. And then like took her cart and walked backwards out of Starbucks. Like, no, I'm fat. I'm fat. I get it. Okay. Thanks. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Get me out of here. And then like I was in my 20s and I'm working with all these teenagers that like were mean to me. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I don't want to be like the unpopular kid to freaking 17-year-olds when I'm like 29. Like, this place sucks. And then throwing all the food away. And I'm like, I just like, yeah, I had 3 days and I'm like, this is not the experience I thought I was going to get. Like, I've worked in customer service a lot and I'm like, I get it's not pleasurable. And yes, these people deserve more money and please tip. But I'm like, damn, like these people coming in here are from another freaking world, man. Like, I can't handle it. And at the time I started to, they did the thing where it was like, they still do every once in a while where it's like the happy hour where Frappuccinos are like half off. And those things are a bitch to make. They take forever. And then everybody's like, I'm going to order 7. And then everything's backed up and then everyone's angry because they're waiting. And, no, oh my God. I everyone working customer service, I have so much respect for you. It's painful.
It is. And people are brutal.
Yeah. I mean, even when I was a waitress for a while, I mean, that's brutal too. I mean, again, it's not all bad. There's some good people, but it's like, man, some people just treat you like dirt and I don't understand why. Like, I didn't do anything to you. I'm trying to give you what you need. I don't understand why you came in here ready to, rip me a new ass.
Ready to throw hands.
Right. Like, jeez.
Shoot.
But when I worked at multiple different Subways and they let us to have, like, it was a 6-inch for like a 3-hour shift or something. You have a foot long if you worked a full shift. You could drink as much soda. Holler. And you could drink as much soda as you want. Which is that
happened to me when I worked at Chick-fil-A. Homegirl gained a lot of weight drinking all the soda.
Yeah, I mainline Dr. Pepper. And then also when I was working at Subway, I mean, you can make Subway incredibly unhealthy. I mean, I would just fill up a whole like medium-sized cup full of like, seafood and crab and eat it with crackers. And it's just nothing but mayonnaise and seafood and crab. Like, I would just make the most unhealthiest salads ever. I would put in massive amounts of cheese on everything. Same thing when I worked at a pizza place. Oh man, those pizzas were bomb. I probably gained 10 pounds from one pizza because I'm like, oh, I get to make it. Because you were allowed to take home one pizza per shift. I'm like, oh, we loading this guy up.
Oh, I could never, ever work at a place like that.
It's dangerous.
It's like my little sister worked at Grater's for a hot minute, and I was like, I would definitely be on my 600-pound life if I worked at Grater's.
Yeah, it's
I can't ever work in food ever again.
Yeah, when I did not make any good choices. Yeah, at Subway, I was doing that at the pizza place. And then also, because I worked at a Casey's, shout out to anybody that's from the Midwest that's loving the Casey's. They also make donuts too. But this is where when I worked at Casey's, I don't know if the rules have changed, that, again, at the end of the night, if there's stale donuts or whatever that you didn't sell even after you half priced them, they're like, take them home. They're like, if there's food left over, if there's slices of pizza, if there's whatever, they're like, take it home. We don't care. And I'm like, that's same thing with Subway of like, just like, take it, like whatever, at least, because I don't know about Casey's, but Subways are franchised out. I guess Starbucks is too, aren't they? I don't know. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the experience that I had, was just kind of like, yeah, if we can't sell it and it's whatever, like you're making minimum wage. When I first started working at Subway, I got paid $4.85 an hour.
Oh,
I was 15 and the minimum wage was $5.15, but they are like, oh, you're under 16, so we can pay you $4.85, so we will.
Jeez.
But to me, I was just excited. I had to save up for my first car. That was my point of working at Subway, is to get a car so I could get the hell out of town.
That's right. And you did.
Yeah. Bye, Millstadt.
I'm out. Oh my God.
Oh man, we went off on a tangent there, but yeah, it's dangerous working at a restaurant or food-based service whenever you're trying to lose weight, which you're on your feet so much that you think that I'm cranking so many steps that it has to cancel this out, and it doesn't.
When I started doing hair, I was like, I'm on my feet for 12 hours. Homegirl gonna get skinny. Didn't happen because I wouldn't eat all day, and then I would freaking go home or go through like multiple drive-thrus on the way home and eat everything.
Yeah, same.
It's bad.
Well, I thought that too I'm like, maybe I should like go work for the post office, because then I would just walk all day and I would lose so much weight.
Too. Dog walker, thought about that. Yeah. But I thought about working for the post office. Yeah, any job where you have to walk a lot.
Yeah, but then but you can still outdo that. Like,
and then I'd be like, oh, I walked all day.
Yeah, or just even think of working in healthcare. Like, I have so many people I know work in healthcare, and you are definitely on your feet all day, and you are moving, but it's such a high stress job that you're like, and you can only eat when you can or drink anything when you can, which is not very often. So when you do, it's like, it's go time. Mm-hmm. At least that's my understanding of it. And that's exactly how I would be. Like, again, so much respect for everybody in healthcare. I can't imagine being on my feet, that hard of a job. You're taking care of people, again, people that are rude to you for no damn reason. And then I would just eat every emotion after my shift. I know that's exactly how I would play it.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like,
I do that with my job, and I don't work in healthcare. So
yeah. I guess, just everything is like every job is, stressful and hard, and it's just easier to go to food to be like, can you just make me not think about this?
I know.
But yeah. I don't miss working in food service at all, especially waitressing. I'm glad that I did it, to have the experience and to know now. I'm like, I will always tip very well unless you did something real wrong. I think that having the experience for anyone working these kinds of jobs gives you just such a different understanding and how to treat people that work in those jobs, which I feel like also gives people a different understanding. If you have been like obese or you've been like in this life, you just have such a different perspective on somebody that has never been overweight, and then it's just like what their idea of like weight loss is. Not saying everybody does, but a lot of people have like, well, I've lived this, and you just like, I can feel what other people are going through, and I'm not looking at somebody and shaming them because of their size or what they're eating, because I know exactly how that feels. I'm not going to give somebody stank eye for eating this thing or what they have in their grocery cart. It's just perspective.
Yeah, no, it does give you perspective, because I've I don't know. I've had a lot of frustrating conversations with people who haven't been overweight, who think they have some sort of understanding of what it might be like.
Yeah. Well, and just even, I know it's to the extreme of people like on my 600-pound life, like, I don't understand how you could get to that place. And for me, I'm like, I can understand it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it. And it's I feel, oh God, that show, I don't know. It hurts me so much to watch. I like when it's inspiring and they change their lives, but it's not an easy road. But it's like, I totally feel like that's just pain. You know what I mean? And like, it's like, I fully understand how you can get there. And you just got to be in a really bad headspace and been through a lot of trauma and really your self-image and everything you've gone through. It's just reflecting on the outside, and that's painful. And I don't feel like it's shaming of like, they need help. They don't need you to tell them they're gross. Oh my God.
No. No, they probably feel gross without someone telling them that.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're all fairly self-aware. Like, it's just like, we know how society, what their thought is towards you, especially in a society that's geared towards perfection and being thin and like, don't have any wrinkles and don't have any stretch marks or cellulite or any of this stuff of like, if we're that particular about a body. I know. Yeah, you obviously, if you are obese, you know exactly what people are thinking. I got the lines at Kroger this weekend when I was meal prep shopping were bonkers. But I was sitting there just looking at all the like, in whatever the Women's Day and all that stuff like that, like reading all the covers. And one was, I can't remember what celebrity was like, they're like, yeah, look at that tummy girl. And it was a side by side, which if you're listening to this week, it might still be in the store. And the other one was like of Kate Hudson. And they're like, ew, look at that tummy, Kate. And I'm like, Kate Hudson is like super fit. And she's got a real body on a beach. And you took a side by side and compared her another celebrity and like shamed her tummy for it. Oh my God, I hate that crap. I'm like, oh, how are the rest of us supposed to feel standing in line at the grocery store looking at that? And that's where you're just like, isn't this disgusting? And I'm like, you know what? I feel like most of the population would kill somebody to have that body.
I know.
And you're telling us that it's disgusting. I don't know. It's just, there's no solution to that other than just to complain about it, but I just hate it.
I know. I'm like, and we wonder why every woman is self-conscious and, doesn't like their body. It's because there's always something wrong with us.
Right.
It's like, and I get so frustrated because I work with all women and I have a lot of female clients, and it's just constantly like, ooh, I hate this about my body, or I feel like I need to get this procedure done or that procedure done. And I'm like, how do we live in a society where it's like we have to constantly be fixing what we look like?
Yeah. And it's like, at what point does it end? Because we all age, you know what I mean? Like, it's just how it works.
And it's okay. I'm like, I feel like that's a natural part of life. But then everyone's like, let's get Botox, let's get a facelift and all this crap. And I'm like, it's sad to me that people feel like it's hard, because I want to support people doing what makes them feel good. But I also think it's sad that we are constantly trying to make ourselves look better.
Yeah. And just being confident in the body we're in, which I've been working on a lot. Yeah. And so like, even for me, is very out of my comfort zone. And I've done it twice in the past 2 weeks now, is posting pictures of my ass. In those booty pants that I got from TikTok. Cause I'm like, oh, like I've always just totally shamed my butt. Like, to me, I'm like, oh, it looks like a deflated balloon or pancakes. I'm like, again, so mean to myself. And then I tried these on, which is the first time I've really ever just like, hey, let's focus on my ass. And literally probably the first time I've ever taken a picture of my ass, other than doing like, for weight loss purposes. Like, I want to take pictures to track personally. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm posting this on the internet. I'm like, but people do this all the time. Like, why am I was just such a war with myself last week to post a picture of my freaking butt when people do it all the time. I'm like, why can't I be confident enough in this of like, I'm excited about this. Like, I'm excited that I think these pants made my butt look better. And I'm like, shouldn't that be enough? Like, why, just do it. And so when I did it again this week in my stories of just like, that's for me, I feel like the win is like, I'm not trying to be like, look at my ass. Like, hey guys, don't you want some of this? It's like, being in a place of like, why don't I just be confident with how my body looks instead of tearing it all apart constantly? Like, just, yeah, why not put that out there and try to, is a tool for me to try to feel more confident about myself. And so I feel like that's worked for me, at least in the, you know, I wasn't fishing for compliments or anything. It's just totally like, this isn't something that you normally do. Why don't you just try loving it? You know what I mean? That's right. So it's all a practice.
It is. And it's hard, but I don't know. I feel like I always wonder like how much I would thrive if I like really like got to the point where I loved my body like as it is.
Yeah, but it's like that totally can happen. You know, it's just like all in your mind. I mean, there's nothing stopping you but your mind, but that's a powerful thing. That's why it's like, I think it's important to, I don't know how many people just automatically, magically love their body or themselves. I think that the people that really do and have that confidence, like take into practice every day of like focusing on like, I want to love myself. Here's are the great things about myself, and stop comparing myself to other people or what other, you know, just the society says I should be, and just like love who you are. And I feel like that you have to, just like losing weight or eating well or exercising has to be like, this has to be on my mind. This has to be, you know, a habit to put it in. And so I don't know how long it takes for that to pay off the way you want it, but I think all of that stuff is just like one day you like wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like you can't
wake up
even
and
tell.
You're like, damn, I'm hot.
And you're like, oh, it looks so good. Oh, and I don't care if I think that's the important part for me, is to not care what anybody else thinks, just what I think. Of like, I'm not doing this because I want somebody else to be like, oh, she's pretty or whatever. I would just want to be like, I want to feel good. And if everybody else just like, that girl is disgusting, like, well, that's your problem. Like, I feel good for me, and to fully like live in that space sounds awesome. I'm getting there.
Oh yeah.
Getting there.
One day at a time.
Yup. All right. Well, hopefully the next week goes well for you, and I guess I will be seeing you at Pilates again.
All right, girl.
All right. I will talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
For info on health coaching and more, go to AmandaValentineBites.com.